I'm here at the Honolulu Zoo with Radke, who's the president of the Friends of the Natatorium. Happy you could be with us today. And very happy to meet you.
Very happy to meet you, and thanks for having the opportunity for me to be here today.
Well, it's our pleasure to learn a little bit more about the Natatorium. You know, growing up in Waikiki as I have, the Natatorium was always a fixture. It's a failing fixture at the moment, an ailing fixture. What is your role as president? And tell us a little bit more about the Natatorium.
Well, my role as president is to make sure that the history of the Natatorium and the reason for why it's here is communicated to the public. Before the Friends of the Natatorium even existed, there was never a need for that because the Natatorium was such a community gathering place, such a place of life that many people from Hawaii and other islands and even from the mainland knew about the Natatorium. You think of golf and St. Andrews as the home of golf. The Natatorium was basically the St. Andrews of swimming here in Hawaii and for the nation.
Right, that's how I remember it, but there's more significance to the Natatorium.
Absolutely. The reason the Natatorium is here is because of the trauma of World War I. And when those folks came back, and there was 10,000 folks from Hawaii that served, when the folks came back, they needed a monument to recognize that service. And instead of having a memorial where people would go to be sad and reflect in that way, they wanted a place where people could come and celebrate life. And the Natatorium, with its swimming and its bleachers, gave folks the opportunity to do that.
The Natatorium for you personally and career-wise is also significant.
Absolutely. I spent 30 years in the Navy, and as a veteran, it's important to me, and I think it's important to most citizens that whatever was done for them by the folks in the military is honored appropriately. And this memorial and other memorials, well, actually, there's no memorials like the Natatorium. It's unique. It's one of a kind. But there are other World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, Iran war memorials that are supposed to remind us today of the sacrifice and service of those that came before us and some of those that actually gave their full measure of devotion. And when we think of that, even though the Natatorium represents a war of 100 years ago, the importance of that is imbued in somebody who's serving today, who might only be 18 years old.
Right.
And how we treat their service 100 years ago might reflect on a decision they make to serve today.
So with such significance and such importance, not only in history but present time, the Natatorium is also under siege, if I may use that word.
Sure.
Of being demolished, of being not just ignored, but being completely destroyed. What efforts are you making now as a nonprofit? Well,
our efforts is basically to educate, to try and bring the entities together that actually are responsible for the Natatorium.
So it's under city and county?
Yes. Presently it's under the city and county of Honolulu. It was previously a state entity, and via a order from the governor, it was transferred to the city and county of Honolulu to operate.
And so is it in their budget, or are there plans to save it, preserve it?
This is probably a good time to talk about the environmental impact study that's presently ongoing. We're at the final EIS stage, and we're waiting from the draft to the final portion. The draft EIS asked for preservation as the preferred alternative, which was very exciting to us and gave us a lot of hope that the opportunity to move forward and open to the public is still there. When the final EIS comes out, there'll be a comment period. There'll be the opportunity for everybody to have a chance to weigh in on what that might look like.
So we'll put the information on your website and how to contact you and the Friends of the Natatorium so that people can give their support.
When that final EIS comes out again, Ōlelo for sure will see me again, and so will many other citizens.
Thank you for taking the time with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
And mahalo to you too for joining in to Island Focus. We've been conversing with Radke, who is the president of the Friends of the Natatorium. Aloha.